1 to 8. Question 1.
Where is the photograph now?
Where's our photograph gone?
I put it on the wall next to the window. It didn't look good where you put it above the cupboard.
But you can't see it by the window. Shall I put it next to the phone?
It'll fall off there. Let's leave it where it is.
OK, then.
Question 2.
What did the woman buy?
Are these curtains new, Sandra?
No, I bought them 5 years ago. From the same shop where I got my blue rug, remember?
Oh, yes. So what did you get yesterday? You did go shopping, didn't you?
That blanket. The one on the sofa. Isn't it soft? I really needed a new one because...
Question 3.
What will the weather be like tomorrow lunchtime?
Have you got the newspaper there? Can you read me the weather forecast for tomorrow? I hope it isn't going to rain for our picnic lunch.
There will be fog early in the day, but it will go by the middle of the morning with winds from the east.
Great.
Yes, but the wind will get stronger through the day.
Question 4.
What does Sarah's dad do?
Are your mum and dad both doctors, Sarah? I saw them in the hospital together yesterday.
Only my mum is. My dad was a cook, but he works for the hospital now. He drives an ambulance.
That's nice for them to work in the same place.
Yes, my dad is much happier now.
Question 5.
Which picture is the woman asking about?
You have some lovely pictures for sale. Can you tell me who painted the one in your window? It's very good.
The oil painting of the Swiss mountains?
That's beautiful, but I meant the one below it.
Oh, the summer flowers. That's by George Anderson. Look, there's a picture of him here in this art magazine.
Question 6.
Which of Miranda's things will Lucy be able to use?
Lucy's joining the tennis club, so that'll be more equipment I have to buy.
Oh, well, don't waste too much money. We bought Miranda everything, but then she only went once because she didn't like the teacher. Actually, I think we've still got some of it somewhere. There's a box of balls in the cupboard, certainly, but she gave her cousin the racket, and she wears the shoes for other things. But I could look in the cupboard and give you what's there.
Oh, thanks. That'd be great. That would be really helpful.
Question 7.
What can't the woman find?
I'm going to mend and paint the shelves in your bedroom today.
Great, Mum. Anything I can do to help?
Yes. Can you go to the shop and get me a new paintbrush? This one's too old. But before you do that, ask your father what he's done with the hammer. I've looked everywhere for it. There was nothing in the toolbox except this pair of scissors, which I lost months ago.
Question 8.
What time did the girl arrive?
Sorry I'm late. Have you been here long?
Well, not really. About 5 or 10 minutes, perhaps. I left home at 6:05 and got here at exactly 7:15.
Well, if we hurry, we'll still make it for the beginning of the film at 7.
That is the end of Part 1.
Part 2. Questions 9 to 20. In this part, you will hear 3 conversations. There are 4 questions for each conversation. For each question, choose the correct answer A, B, C or D. You will hear the conversations only once. Questions 9 to 12.
You will hear an interview with a woman who works in a museum.
My guest today is Clara Thomas, who has an interesting job in the Museum of History. Clara, did you always want to work in a museum?
Hello. Oh, no. At school, most of my mates wanted to be lawyers, and I was dreaming of being a teacher. When my best friend got a small part in a film, not my favourite job, I thought she was so lucky. At 15, she had the job she wanted. I wanted to go to college to study history. Then I saw this museum job advertised.
So you decided to apply?
Well, they wanted someone to organise the museum collections, for example, old coins or ancient vases, very valuable pieces. It was a big responsibility, but that's what I wanted. I didn't apply immediately, though. I was afraid it wouldn't be interesting working on my own, with no one to talk to. It took me 2 weeks to decide to apply. My mother was very upset.
And you got the job?
Yes. I'll never forget my first day. I was introduced to all my colleagues. They were very friendly. One of them read a little speech she'd written to welcome me. Then somebody said there were some big boxes full of museum objects for me downstairs. Could I go and get them? I couldn't believe it. I didn't say anything. I just did it. They were very heavy.
Was everything else easier?
Not really. I had worked with computers, and this was very useful. I'm not very good with numbers, though, and as part of my job I had to look at objects the museum wanted to buy, usually from private collectors. For that, you need an understanding of basic mathematics. My boss said I definitely should do something about it, and I did. I had to give up my French studies to make time for that.
Questions 13 to 16.
You will hear part of a radio interview with a woman called Linda Brown, who is talking about working in a cake shop when she was a student.
Now, Linda, let's talk about your first job.
Well, I was an assistant in an expensive cake shop in the small town where I lived. It was my last year at school before I went to college. I wanted to earn extra money for myself because I come from a family of 7 and my parents couldn't afford to give us much pocket money.
Did you like your first boss?
He was always polite, never shouted at us, even when we dropped things. And that was good for a young girl like me who wasn't very confident. He knew everything about the business. I had no proper training, but it was good experience working for someone with so much knowledge. He didn't pay us well, but I didn't expect to earn much in my first job.
And what about the shop? Was it a nice place to work?
As I say, it was an expensive shop and the cakes were beautiful. Then in the morning there was this wonderful smell of bread baking. The first week was difficult because I just wanted to eat the cakes, which wasn't allowed, but then I lost interest in them. We had to keep everything clean and that was hard work.
Did you do any of the baking yourself?
There were 2 chefs who were specialists in making cakes for celebrations and creating new bread recipes. I loved watching them at work, but I wasn't allowed to touch the ones on display in the windows. We sold sandwiches at lunchtime, again very luxurious ones, and the shop assistants had to make those. I learned to put in really generous fillings, much more than I used at home.
How did you get on with the other shop assistants?
One of them was my best friend, which was great. But the full-time staff sometimes treated us like silly schoolgirls because we couldn't cook. But I was surprised because the full-time assistants couldn't add up in their head. I was good at it, but they used calculators if there was anything difficult to work out.
Did you enjoy serving customers in the shop?
The best part of the day was lunchtime, when we were busy. Time just flew. Then it was interesting when people came in to plan a party or a wedding. One of the chefs would come through to discuss the design of the cake. Some customers thought the prices were too high, but usually ended up buying the cakes anyway.
Questions 17 to 20.
You will hear an interview with a young man called Jack Salter, who has won a photography competition.
Jack Salter is a young Canadian who has just won the Young Photographer of the Year competition. Jack, is that right? You started out taking photos of street signs.
That's right. I've been serious about photography for about a year, maybe a year and a half, but I've been taking photos ever since I was little. I probably first picked up a camera when I was about 7 and went around taking photos of street signs of all shapes and sizes. My mother tells me it was all down to my being attracted to the bright colors. I guess she's right.
Can you tell me a little about the winning photograph?
It was the first day of dry weather for a while, and I decided to go out and play around with some new kit for my camera. I started off in my own yard. There wasn't much to photograph, though, until this butterfly happened to land on a large flower. And fortunately, I was able to get what turned out to be the prize-winning photo.
Were you happy with the photograph?
I was lucky, actually, because on the camera screen the butterfly didn't look terribly amazing. I could see that it was in a great position and the background scene was nice and clear, but you couldn't see the pattern on its wings because of the size of the screen. It was only when I saw the picture on the computer that I realized how good it was.
What do you think of the other photos from the competition?
I've seen the work on display with mine, and the standard is hard to believe. There are photos of animals and plants from all over the world, and you can see the work of photographers from places as far apart as Russia and Australia.
Has anything changed for you since winning the competition?
That's a hard question. Before winning, I'd been concentrating mainly on taking photos of people, although after coming to London for the exhibition and talking to all the other photographers, I intend to get more into doing shots of landscapes in different countries.
Do you have any advice for young people starting out in photography?
Don't make excuses. My entry was taken with an excellent camera, but that's not everything. My method is just to get out there and do it, and you don't have to go far to get the shot. You'll find something. You'll start to love it.
That is the end of part 2.